No, that's a great little video you've made showing the positive side of Asperger's syndrome. I am in agreement with that. The only thing I don't agree with is when you're being slaughtered by neurotypicals. Well, that's a different matter. But if somehow society can learn to stop doing that to us, well, then we can really shine and show them that we're not cold and hard, as you know, we are really so beautiful. But this societal hatred is just turning so many of them into vicious kinds. They've lost their minds. I don't even know what to do now, because I'm trying to raise awareness. I'm trying to get connections online to basically blow the myths out of the water. To bust the myths of the society, because that's exactly right. We are great workers. We are great scientists. But how can we prove it to these people when we're not even allowed in the front door because of our task orientation, aka our passions, our focused interests? It really hurts me, like to see so much talent go to waste. I mean, I feel like declaring war on neurotypicals because they just seem to dominate everything, and they call us domineering. But we can't fight them, but I'm just telling you what I'm feeling, on how I feel, being truthful about it. I feel they're unreasonable. I mean, it's beautiful that you've been able to hook up with them, mate. How do you do it? How do you make the neurotypicals do some kind of work? I mean, nice stuff. If only somehow in the world we had people like you who could interface between us and them, and we don't want it to be us and them, You see, because that's the problem. We're all compartmentalised. We've all been segregated, but we're not segregated, but the segregation occurs when we don't get the work. We get put in our own little boxes, or our little crappy little apartments, or mummy and daddy's place, when really we should be just as independent, if not more so than they are. We've got bigger brains. Why is it that they are ruling our world? But it's really cool to see you able to make peace with them, or at least with some of them. Because men, to me, they are boring. They are very nasty people. And then, well, that's what I've seen anyway. And I mean, if we had the chance to enjoy our interests, to be able to express ourselves in art and science, because art and science were a great combination, right? To put art and science together means we can create theoretically better equipment, a better user experience if we're talking, computers and all kinds of gadgets. But when you take away that, and these guys focus on money and greed, and they like to keep it all for themselves, and they don't give it to us, they are very deceitful. I mean, the thing is, I really don't want to talk in this cutting tone of voice, but when I look at the world, it's their world. They've taken everything. They've actually taken millions of us and taken our jobs, taken our faith in ourselves, and taken our faith in believing that we can be something. And all we can do now is vlog and vlog and vlog, and that's the problem. I mean, and I'm not accusing you, but I'm just saying that that's the way they've done it. They've brainwashed us. We've been brainwashed. The thing is, some of us have woken up to ourselves, as in we've fallen down the deepest pit. We've wasted half our lives scrounging and scrubbing around for even the slightest shred of hope. We've worked in jobs that have absolutely shot hole. Unemployment is like 85% of the stats. I don't even know how to get the media to work with us, because they're the ones that I'm trying to hook into to basically raise awareness. Now, the thing is, I've got big plans to fix the problem and do it peacefully, but if I spend my life 1 year in cyberspace trying to hook onto people and trying to fix the problem, and nothing has really happened, well, it does get a bit statistically, you get a bit negative about it. You think, oh yeah, it's been going on for too long. But the thing is, I've got to keep moving, keep thumping along, okay? Because if none of us, if we can't find some kind of way of unifying us, because the thing is, neurotypicals have ruled everything. They rule everything. They've made criminals out of a lot of us. They've taken people, like the 1990s are a period that I long for. I don't want to go back to the 90s, but I basically want to rebirth the 90s, because the 90s was where we were having some kind of impact on the industries. Now, we are great, we are nice, but unfortunately, if we do get double-crossed, triple-crossed, we get 100 times crossed, 1,000 times crossed, and that's when we can become nasty and start to resent. And this resentment is something, that's the thing. If you get hammered by neurotypicals for too long, it almost like poisons your brain. But thing is, we've been given nothing to. You see, they don't listen to our culture. They don't like our music, or do they? Question mark. I mean, the thing is, it's good to see you're creative, because without creativity, that's where we go mad. Like you, I've got to. One of the things I find for therapy, right, is keeping myself hooked up to music. And this is what we have to do, is we have to stay within our zone. But the thing is, neurotypicals pick on the very things that we love. They say you're too focused, da-di-da, and that's when their backs get up, and that's when we can basically, we don't sing songs of love or joy. And that's what's missing from our life, is love and appreciation and dignity. And the problem is that the culture's been going on for too long. It's been going on for so long that it's become entrenched. I don't know what to do, because the media is overrun with the neurotypicals, I think, and they don't listen. They don't seem to listen to us. They don't listen, and that's the problem. If you can't, in the 90s, they had these really cool movements, and they had these really cool work cultures where people who were programmers and scientists were actually doing creative stuff at the same time. Man, oh crack! I wish you could see that stuff. That would be called a home. Where you could just work in a science lab, work in a big R&D lab, and have all of us working together as a tightly knit community where we all had husbands and wives, and we all worked on projects that we loved. If you love computers, you got your computer section. Here we are. If you love mobile phones, and Android tablets, here you go. That's your section, and you can pick and choose what you want. You can, and then we have music. Then we have electronic music. We have, media arts like video art and virtual reality and all that stuff. You can create computer games like, Aspies love gaming, that sort of stuff, and they're getting very upset that they can't have an impact on the gaming industry. It's really annoying to see these people so distressed and so ratted off. We've got people, it's really odd. Well, my passion is photocopy machines, and how many times have people spat in my face verbally about that? I'm not going to give up my dreams. But basically the thing is, the copier industry was full of... I worked in the copier industry back in the 90s. I saw some amazing stuff that was just starting to happen, and, it was on the cusp. It was like photocopier art was the thing, but the problem was, it was like something went horribly wrong, and the culture of that industry alone also changed, and it mutated into something so ugly that we see today. So back in those days, you went to say, I love photocopiers, but then you can narrow down the criteria. So I love Xerox. So you work into Xerox and say, okay, I love copies, I love Xerox. You're 17, you don't have any real experience, you get out of school. In you go, and then you go, click you in the door. But nowadays it's like, okay, I'm a technician, I'm the best in the field, I've had years of experience, I love what I do. Access denied. There are 2 tasks oriented, you got 3 more people targets, and that's it. So what we see on YouTube now, which really blows my head off, is a twilight zone of copycat professionals without jobs. People repairing photocopiers on YouTube. People working the machines to show how to work out the difficult, how should I put it, like passwords or, the online stuff that goes with them, configuration demos. So the other ones, so they're called copier industrialists. They could build a new photocopier. But how can we build a photocopier when we're all spread out around the world? Half of them are pulling cones because they're so depressed. Half of them don't know what they're doing. They just do it like a form of autoplay. It's like autoplay, and that's my dream, is to build a self-guided photocopier. We've got the technology, we've got the numbers of people, but when everyone's lost in their own world because of the industry poisoning their mind and the people saying you suck shit and all this stuff, pardon the word, well, people get into very depressed. Depression is what many of us have got. To be out of work and to be bullied and told that you suck crap or you is actually very poisonous. It can actually be like, I think it's like getting into a smoking habit. It can actually kill you. And they don't show any mercy, no remorse. They call us unremorseful, but it's only because we've been we've had our hearts ripped out. Now, you want to know another fact that I've seen? The church has actually been implicated in the bulk of the damage, because they actually accuse us because we got our machines. Now, there's a bit of a mirroring effect happening here, which really is perplexing, because it's actually saying the church is meant to be a benevolent society, but they're not being benevolent to us. They're being malevolent. I mean, really malevolent. They're also being, they're actually causing poverty to flourish. We have a lot of people on the street in Sydney, and I'm sure many of us would like to hook in and help if only we had money, if only we had some kind of prestige. Well, prestige, if we don't use it selfishly, we don't put our own money and build a money pile for us, and we build our own house, big mansion, but we don't give nothing to the poor. Isn't that funny? It's the poor that want to give to the poor, and the rich just want to look them by and just say, well, go get your own lunch. But dang, where you get lunch when you've only $5 in your whatever. And that's the problem. We all want to do something good. We all want to make something big, because the only way to reach a neurotypical really is to give them something useful. So we know we need a self-guided photocopier. It would be a lucrative trade for us, for those who are interested in that particular tilt. But how can we pitch it to anyone when we don't even have a self-guided photocopier? We're not even working in the industry. We don't have any ties with the industry. How can we give them anything? How can we reason with them without a gift, without anything? And then if they don't like our creativity or our obsessions in the form of photocopier art, for example, you can't inspire them like you could in the 90s. So you're basically pitching your goodies at nothing. So if you've got they're practical objects now, practicality. So theoretically, my hypothesis is I want to create a Silicon Valley. I want to rescue these people. I know I've got a contact who, for some reason, has basically put me out on the YouTube. He's basically put me on the front line. I don't enjoy this. It's getting a bit old hat, but I will not give up on it because I love what I do. I'm into photocopiers, and our lives are dependent on some kind of way of forming a nice, compatible community. Another fact about Aspies is most don't have husbands and wives. And the copier industrialists, I know what they're like. They're the ones I've been tuned into specifically. They have their own little, if you could talk about bands of, radio transmissions, like you've got shortwave, you've got medium wave, you've got long wave. We're talking radio, well, that's just a few examples here. You could say that these guys are tuned into a very specific form of shortwave or something, right? And most people don't recognise the signal. They don't know how to find the signal, and why would they want to? It's not their radio station, so they think, oh, they're clear. So, because I've worked in the industry and I've dealt with people like that, and I can pick up their frequency. So even when most of these copier industrialists have lost their interest in copiers, or they've hidden it because they're trying to conform to the normal society, but you get masking effects that are so weird. They're like garbled radio signals. It's like noise. It's not like you can't recognise them unless you're trained for that particular detection. So a toner head or a copier industrialist might not be a toner head anymore because he's not working in the industry. He's working in a supermarket. Another way and they might also employ disguises, like they might get into interests like travel, or they might. Another example is, which is really bad, is taking marijuana, and then they might disguise their names and call them stoner heads. They might take the word toner, which is the ink from the brine from a photocopier, and put the S on the end and say stoner heads, or something like that. It's like, and then of course they don't want to talk to normal people, and they have their own underground communities, and they're very shy and very afraid, but they can also be very vicious too, because they feel they've lost something. A lot of them they would be called, many of these people I've known because they're like legacy examples, people from my generation when I was 20 or 19, all of them are now 40 or 50 or 60, there's a bit of, so I've recognised them, and the thing is they tend to be drawn, the funny thing is, of course I've woken up to myself, they're sitting me as a beacon of hope, but the problem is, what can I do for them if I can't involve some kind of media to bring them together and bring up back the 90s? How can I do it? Because most of them can't even hook up to social media. But I've got to go. This will kill me off. So anyway, thank you very much for that.